Hey Saber fans, welcome back to another review slash demonstration of the two sound cards that I have here. And the reason I'm making this video is I wanted to show a comparison between the two cards and then a demonstration of what the Spark 2 can do, kind of compared to the Nano Biscotte. I know there's a lot of fans out there between the two cards, and these are the two budget cards of Plector Labs and NEC, or Nigon Electronics. So I just kind of wanted to do a quick review and go over them and kind of show you the differences if you weren't sure of which does what, the benefit of one compared to the other, and so things like that. And then a quick demonstration of what the Spark 2 can do in my custom ASP Saber Forge build that I have here. So real quick, and this video won't be too terribly long, you can see the size difference of the two cards next to each other. So one is definitely significantly a lot bigger, and that can play a difference in your builds when you're doing the installs and stuff yourself and trying to squeeze everything in there. The size of the card can make quite a bit of difference. And most of the time you can get it to work, but you just have to get a little more creative with your wiring, make sure it's a lot cleaner, and things of that sort. So you can see with the two boards the differences, the way it's set up. Down on the bottom part here is pretty much where all your solder points are going to be on the Nano Biscotte. And then this little joint right here is where, if you're having an illuminated switch on the switch, is basically going to, the light portion is going to go to this deep sleep pad, which is this little tiny solder joint here. So as far as the difficulty of soldering the board up, it's pretty straightforward and easy. You have all the solder joints right here, your speaker, your flash on clash, your LED negative and positive, and your battery. So it's nice and clean and easy to solder that up. As far as the Spark board goes, it's different. So you kind of have your solder joints around the board here. And so on this Spark 2 board, the only two LED spots that are open, because you can do color mixing, is the C1 and the C2. So you have to solder these joints here to the board. Don't disregard these solder joints here. It was something I was working on, but so there's three joints you would have to solder here: your ground, your 1, and your 2. And then so that would handle your LED negative portion. Over here is your 2 spots for your main switch, and then you can also include a auxiliary switch. But the nice thing with this board is that it's one of the few boards where you can run with one switch and still get all the features. You do the same thing with the Nano Biscotte board. However, you get a couple more features with this board, and I'll go into that in a second. You also get the 1 over here, and the 2 and the 3 you can use as your accent LEDs, and that's where you would solder your joints for if you had an illuminated switch. Down here is your speaker solder points, and then over here is your LED positive, your battery positive, and your ground and stuff like that, and where you would connect your recharge port as well if you were doing that. So you can see how it's a little more spaced out along the board, so you got to be more cognizant of how long your wires are when you're attaching them and stuff like that. And then you're going to have wires that are going to run across the board as well at points. Not difficult to solder up, but a little more difficult than the Nano Biscotte. It's a little more straightforward. So as far as the features go, you get a few more things with the Spark 2 than the Nano Biscotte. So with the Nano Biscotte, you get 2 Soundfonts. You get a really awesome deep sleep mode, which is a great positive, so you really don't have to worry about a recharge port for that. You can get definitely a couple months of shelf life with an 18650 battery, compared to the Spark 2, where it does have a deep sleep mode, but it's not at the same caliber as the Nano Biscotte, you might get a month of shelf life, if that, depending on how much you use it and stuff. And, you know, the way you have your LED set up and everything too. So you get 2 Soundfonts with the Nano Biscotte compared to 3 on the Spark 2. You get the Flash on Clash with the Nano Biscotte. You also get Flash on Clash on the Spark 2. You get more accent LED pads on the Spark 2 than the Nano Biscotte. Let's see, so you get lockup effects. You get blaster blocks on the Spark 2, which you do not get on the Nano Biscotte. And then you can, like I said, you can use a main switch and an auxiliary switch on the Spark 2 for your effects, or you can use just the one switch. So it gives you that option as well. It also has something called Saber Tracks, so you can actually load numerous songs, I believe up to 99 banks, onto the SD card and play those just, you know, like full music, Star Wars songs, you know, whatever you want to put on there is pretty much, you know, up to your imagination, which you don't have that feature at all on the Nano Biscotte. You also get color mixing too on the Spark 2. So the C1 and the C2. So for example, if I had a royal blue, red LED, you connect the royal blues to the C1 and the red to the C2. So you would get, remember, 3 Soundfonts. So you get 3 LED choices. So your first one could be an all blue blade. Your second one would be an all red blade. And then you get a mix of the 2 colors. So it would be a purple blade. Or you could, you know, downsize, you know, the intensity of those blade colors and bring it down to, you know, a slightly off, you know, whitish purple or something like that, or a pink, which is kind of what I have in mine. Mine's like a whitish purple kind of color is my last one. So that's a nice feature, and you do that in the software that you can download from his website. So it gives you a little more flexibility when it comes to that. And there's other things, like you get an illuminated switch that you can make pulsate and flash in different ways too, and you do that in the software as well, which you don't get that with the Nano Biscotte. I'm sure there's probably a few other things, but that's the gist of pretty much the difference in the 2 cards. So if you have any questions on them, please leave it in the comments, and I'll be happy to answer them for you. So let's take a look at the Saber I have here. So I have this wired up to a recharge port. So we'll pull the kill key here. So that's the first sound font. And then I have this with a white LED on there. So the first one I have set up is the blue LED. And then I'll see if I can get this to work. So with this, and this is the great thing with the one switch, if you hit the blade and get the clash at the same time that you hit it, you hit the button and you'll get the lockup effect. And if you just tap the button, you get your blaster block effects, and also you can customize how you want your effect to be on your blade. By mixing the colors, I could have done a straight red, or I could have done more of a blue effect, but I kind of went with that whitish, you know, pink color. So that's the first one. So we'll shut it down, and you'll see in a second that you'll just
there has been an awakening. Have you felt it?
So slightly rotating my hand to the right will take me to the next sound font. Now if I had an auxiliary switch here, I would just press that and that would take me to the next one. But with this one, that's a beautiful feature with this, is that you don't need to. You can do it all with one switch, so you don't have to drill another hole in here. So you can see, this one's the full red blade, and then same thing, you lock up in your clash sounds and everything.
There has been an
So this is the last sound font. And another thing too, with this, when you're doing the blaster blocks and stuff like that, as you're hitting them, you can actually move the blade around, and it kind of keep the blaster blocks going. That's without hitting the button. And then the last one, which I don't have any music fonts on this one, or music tracks, I guess, is the Saber Tracks.
Saber Tracks.
So it fires up into that, and then you would basically hit this button. So they're just the generic ones that were already in the card. I just never took those off. It came with just 2 on there, but I'll eventually load them on. I just didn't do it with this one. So that's pretty much the features of the card. It's not bad for a budget card. You get, I think, quite a bit with it. A little bit more than the Nano Biscotte, and that's not talking poorly on it. It's a really great board, but you just, as you can see, you just get a few more features with this one. So I just kind of want to discuss that, and just giving you an idea of what you get and the differences between the two. So if you have any questions, hit me up in the comments, and as always, I'm happy to help. God bless, take care, and may the force be with you.